All right, we are proud to be associated with Pat's Run this year. It is an event. If you've not been, it's indescribable. If you have been, there's no need to try to describe it. But joining me is Christian Hundley. She is one of the co-founders of Pat's Run, and you were a close friend of Pat's in college.
I was, yes.
Is it hard to believe you're this far distant from college?
It is very much so, because it feels like yesterday sometimes, and it feels like a lifetime ago other times.
When you, I would love to, if you don't mind, would you share? I think most of the country understands the basics of Pat's story. You know, ASU Sun Devil, and then of course makes the Arizona Cardinals against all odds. Not only that, becomes a superstar on the team, gives it all up to join the military, gives his life for his country, and we know the basics. It's filling in the blanks that have been the best thing for me in talking with people like you about the person Pat was, even in college. What was he like?
You know, Pat was just a very inspirational guy just to his close friends. You know, he was always spurring us along to do better in school, to play better. Our relationship was I worked for the football team, so to work better, to get my career in sports started. So he was the ultimate cheerleader and friend.
Pablo is a Sun Devil and a huge fan, and we were at the Pints for Pat event, and he was talking to the player, the tight end that played with Pat, and it was funny when they were sharing stories. Pablo was telling him stories about the seasons that the guy he'd forget. So Sun Devils remember these memories, and one of them that people talk about is Pat going up on the lights and just meditating.
Yes.
He was just a little different.
Yes, he was. One of the best views in all of Sun Devil Stadium is the roof of the press box, but he took it a step further and would go up to the lights. And if you ever wondered where he was either in the library, on the field, or maybe up there.
We talked with Perry not too long ago, and he was telling me a story about Pat, that after his death, there was someone that approached him and said that on their days off when they weren't practicing, that Pat would go and read to her children. It says a lot about who he was.
Yeah, he loved spending time in the school, and a lot of us didn't know that extra stuff that he did, because he would never talk about that sort of thing. He just did it.
Tell us about the concept of Pat's Run. For people that haven't been there, it is grown into a massive event that still feels like a gathering of friends. But what was the concept?
So the concept, when we started, it was a fine line between a lot of us grieving and looking for a memorial of sorts and a celebration to try to cross that bridge, if you will. And now it's just an ultimate day for the community. It's a feel-good day for a lot of people. It's a homecoming, because they come once a year for Pat's Run, and the friendships and bonds that have come from Pat's Run are just remarkable now, 21 years in this year.
But it's also, you and I talked before the microphones came on. I remember being at Pat's Run right after the Boston Marathon bombing, when it changed everything everybody was doing. Mm-hmm. But to see the same spirit, to see people in Arizona wearing the Pat's Run shirts and Boston Strong hats, standing with fellow Americans, but it didn't stop people from celebrating his life. And I think more that word celebration is, do you feel it that way? Because that's what I see it as.
I do. I still have my moments where I get a little emotional, but that's, to me, now part of the celebration.
Yeah, losing someone so very close to you like I have, I always say to people that it doesn't get easier, but it does get easier to deal with. You just learn to carry it a little better.
Yes, that's very true.
Is it cathartic for you? Is each year cathartic for you to see the more and more people turn up and someone wants to come and tell you a story about Pat? Do you love that?
I love that. I love to hear what Pat's Run has done for people, all walks of life, all thought processes, all of it. It's very gratifying to know that we built something in our friend's name that is so important to so many people.
So I want everybody to learn a couple of things. First of all, this year there's always you make it better every year. If it's not, I never thought that was possible, but you're doing a tailgate so that once you cross the 42-yard line, I'm guessing this is the concept, that you don't leave that feeling there and get in your car, that people are going to stay around and continue the celebration.
Right. Once you cross the 42-yard line, you'll go back out to the stadium, or outside the stadium, to Tillman Tailgate. We're going to have food trucks, a beer garden, a band that has been confirmed, just to continue the party, so you don't have to go straight home and you can enjoy the rest of the day with us.
One of the things watching this event, the years that I've been there, is the people that run it. Many of them run it and finish to get their best time, and some of them run it more than once, and some of them walk it because they want to experience it. But to watch families to see young kids in a Tillman shirt and have parents teaching their children about the life and sacrifice, to me, is remarkable.
Yeah, getting that next generation of Sun Devil fan, I've seen that in my own family with my nieces and nephews, just to teach that history of our country, and break it down into football a little bit. This generation, I never would have thought we'd see children named Pat and Tillman, and they're all even growing up now. We've been
Yeah.
around a while.
Yeah, so let's talk about, because the icing on the cake for me is the Tillman Foundation does wonderful things with the Tillman scholars, and not just helping them with their education, but post-education, they are lifers as a scholar. Can you talk about the foundation?
Yeah, the Pat Tillman Foundation has done a remarkable job to generate this society of Tillman scholars who, when they get together, it's a wonder to watch their brains work and them interact with each other. And like you said, it's even post their education to be able to, they use it as a think tank to bounce things off each other, to help each other with projects around the country. It's a remarkable community.
One of the things that everybody that knew Pat, and I'd never met Pat, but the people that knew him, there seems to be a common theme that he was selfless, that he, even as famous as he became, and I don't know if he'd be comfortable with that word, but as famous as he became as a football player, he was the ultimate teammate, and he was looking out for other people. And every scholar I've talked to, and we've interviewed them over the years, I've done it years ago and then this year, they seem to have that theme as well, that it's not about getting an education to serve myself. It's about getting an education so that I can serve the world. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's that no I in team mentality.
Yeah.
That transcends sports. And Pat definitely was that friend and that colleague and that teammate. So to see the Tillman scholars carry that on in their different pockets of the world and be able to spread that ripple effect is quite amazing.
What was it like? Because I had heard from people that, he was very frugal and he didn't know if he was going to make the Cardinals. And so there was a sense of humility in him. There was confidence, but there was a sense of humility in him. What was he like? What was that transformation like when he went from being a star on the field at ASU to that transition into professional sports where he became a very famous NFL player?
Yeah, I think for Pat specifically, it didn't change. It didn't change much. He just wanted to play. He wanted to play his best. He wanted to be the best person he could be and be the best person he could be for his friends and his family. So I don't think he'd ever say that he was famous. He succeeded on the football field and enjoyed it tremendously, but he himself did not change through that at all.
What was it like when he told you or you found out he was giving up his NFL career to serve in the military?
For me personally, it was shocking at my young age, my young, naive age. It was shocking from the standpoint of giving all of that up that he had worked for, but knowing the man that he was and that he wanted to become, it wasn't terribly a surprise.
It was not lost on me or anybody else that understands the sacrifice of athletics and trying to be your best, that he didn't just join the military, that he wanted to challenge himself. And he became an Army Ranger, which is the elite of the elite in the United States Army. That, of course, he was going to go and do that.
Yeah, of course, he had to make it harder probably than most people would,
Yeah.
and he enjoyed every minute of it.
So what would, and I want people to know, go to patsrun.com. Going to the website, patsrun.com, you can get more information and you can sign up. This is going to be, it is a fantastic day. I can promise you this. You will leave there changed. You will love your community more. You will never want to miss another event. And if you've got children, it is the best way to teach them what real sacrifice looks like. What's the expectation this year? I don't know what your expectation was year one, but what are the numbers? What numbers are you looking at right now?
Yeah, we're typically looking at about 30,000 people on site, spectators and runners alike, and everybody from age 0 to all the way up to age 100. And that's our expectation again this year, and just to make it, as a colleague says, the state's greatest day.
Did you ever imagine when you started this that it was going to get to be the event that it is?
I had no idea. I don't think any of us had any idea. We hoped that people would show up. We hoped that people would get the gist of why we were doing it. We hoped it would grow. But what it's morphed into, I don't think any of us could have seen.
There are some things that are unique to Arizona that we all love. Spring training is amazing in Arizona, and the Open is amazing. But this is the quintessential Arizona event. It encompasses ASU, which is such a big part of the Valley in the state. Pat and the Cardinals, his service to the country, and it was this. Did it happen, or did you make it happen?
I think the community made it happen. I think we've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into creating the foundation of the foundation, if you will. But the community showed up. They show up every year in droves. They show up more and more every year. And just to see that, they've helped us build it.
I can't wait to be there. When I found out we were partnering with you again, I was so excited. I can't wait to be out there this year. And thanks for coming all the way down here. I know you're a busy person in your work life, but this is going to be incredible, and I appreciate the stories.
Absolutely, my pleasure. All
right, that is Christina Hundley. She is one of the co-founders and a college friend of Pat Tillman. Again, go to patsrun.com and you can learn more about this fantastic event.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Catch up on Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast, and click the button in the middle to subscribe.